In other words, the Romans kicked him out.
Therefore he shall be grieved and return, and have indignation against the holy covenants.
Therefore what?
And have indignation against the holy covenants.
Therefore he shall be grieved and do what? Read. I want you to read from that.
Okay. Grieve and return, and have indignation. For the ship of Chpt shall come against him.
Right.
Therefore he shall be grieved and return, and have indignation against the holy covenants.
In other words, in being expelled by the Romans, he was pissed off and did what? He decided to go up against Israel again. Now, the prophecy that you just read, now I'm going to read the fulfillment. The same work of Josephus, Antiquities, chapter 5 and chapter 5 and paragraph 3. Then, after this, we're going to go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and pick it up from verse 29. Okay, let me drink me some water first. My throat is starting to get a little dry. All right. It says, King Antiochus, returning out of Egypt for fear of the Romans, made an expedition against the city of Jerusalem. And when he was there, in the 143rd year of the kingdom of the Seleucids, he took the city without fighting. It's going to expound on that when we get to First Maccabees. He took the city without fighting because he attacked them on the Sabbath. You remember that?
Yeah.
Those of his own party opening the gates to him. Meaning, remember saying he was with peaceful people. It goes back to verse 23. So I said verses 21 to 24 was in a sense a summary beforehand of what he would be doing. Because verse 23 said, and after the league made with him shall he work deceitfully, for he shall come up and shall become strong with the small people. He shall enter peaceably even upon the fattest places of the province, and he shall do that which his fathers have not done, so on and so forth. Well, this is what he did. Once again, it said he was kicked out by the Romans. He went to the city of Jerusalem, and when he was there in the 143rd year of the kingdom of the Seleucids, he took the city without fighting because the people were at peace. When they had an existing alliance, not alliance, but they had an existing treaty of peace. Those of his own party, meaning the Israelites, that knew that they had an accord with him, opening the gates. And when he had gotten possession of Jerusalem and slew many of the opposite party, and when he had plundered a great deal of money, he returned to Antioch. Now, we're going to go to the Apocrypha. All right? First Maccabees. No. Now it came to pass, I'm continuing. This is Antiquities of Josephus, chapter 5 and paragraph 4. I just read paragraph 3, now I'm reading paragraph 4. It says, now it came to pass after 2 years, this is what it's going to say in Maccabees. In the 145th year, on the 25th day of the month, that which is called Caslu by the Macedonians, and by the Macedonians, Apelles, in the 153rd Olympiad, that the king came up to Jerusalem and pretending peace. Now that goes back to what? That goes back to verse 24. I want you to read that.
Okay.
Daniel 11, verse 24. That's why I said it was all a what? It was all a summary beforehand. Go ahead.
Daniel 11, verse 24. He shall enter peaceably even upon the fattest places of the province.
He shall enter how?
Peaceably.
And this said that in the 153rd Olympiad, that the king came to Jerusalem and pretending peace, he got possession of the city by treachery. At which time he spared not so much as those that had been into it. Even killed the people that had been. On account of the riches that lay in the temple, but led by his covetous inclination, for he saw there was in it a great deal of gold and many ornaments that had been dedicated to it of very great value. And listen to this. And in order to plunder its wealth, he ventured to break the league he had made. Now what verse is that? That's verse what? 22. Let me see, verse 21. Hold on. Who said yeah, verse 23. I'm going to read this again. You read verse 23. Read verse 23 first.
Okay. Daniel 11, verse 23. And after the league made with him,
and after the prophecy, Daniel. Go ahead.
He shall work deceitfully. For he shall come up and shall become strong with small people.
And after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully. Now Josephus give us the history on that. It says, and in order to plunder his wealth, he ventured to break the league he had made. So he left the temple bare and took away the golden candlestick and the golden altar of incense and the table of showbread and the altar of burnt offering, and did not abstain from even the veils which were made of fine linen and scarlet. He also emptied it of its secret treasures and left nothing at all remain. And by this means cast the Jews into great lamentation, for he forbade them to offer those daily sacrifices which they used to offer to the Most High according to the law. Now, like I said, this gets so iterative, but this is what I'm going to do. In order to appreciate that, that's the historical source, then you just go to the Bible. It's the same thing happened, well, not the Bible, the portion of the Bible called the Apocalyptic. First Maccabees chapter 1.
Verse 29.
But let me say, we're not going to read it all. We're going to direct it because we read it now. But so the point is that the sources are so plentiful to know what prophecies are being fulfilled. We read enough. The others I was just giving to them so they can read it on their own. It's just talking. Let me say this. From here on to chapter, or the same chapter, but verse 39, it's talking about all the stuff that Antiochus did. So I want to explain it in the next, coming up with the next 10, and then give them the references so they can read it. Because we'll be here till 6 in the morning, man, to get down on this. Go ahead. So I said go ahead, but I don't mean go ahead. What I mean is where we at.
But First Maccabees chapter 1, 29.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 29. I'm just going to read that, and it's going to reiterate at what period of time he got kicked out by the Romans. You notice he did his first exploit in 170 BC, and it's historically documented that the second exploit, where he was turned away by the Romans, he did it in 168 BC. That's why I said in 2 years. So when you read verse 29, it says, and after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collectors of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude. Listen to this, because the prophecy was what? And spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire and pulled down the houses and the walls thereof on every side. But the women and the children took their captive and possessed the cattle. There you have it, okay? All right. So that means, now remember, you had just read, we was only going back to verse 22, 23, and 24 for a retrospective, what did I say? Reference. Now you left off at 30 something.
Verse 30.
Verse 30 you left off at? Read that.
For the ships of Chpt shall come against him, therefore he shall be grieved.
So we know about the Romans. Go ahead. So out of grief, out of anguish for having been kicked out and having had his expeditions and his exploits toward Egypt terminated, he turned toward a place where he knew it was always gold and spoils. He went to Jerusalem. Go ahead.
And return and have indignation against the Holy Covenant.
In other words, once again, when it said the Holy Covenant, it's talking about he had indignation against the people with whom was a holy covenant with the Most High. It's talking about us, our forefathers. Okay, what verse is that?
Verse 30.
Okay, is that the end of verse 30?
No.
Read on.
So shall we do. He shall even return and and have intended to forsake the holy covenant.
Now stop. We're going to stop and change the last, bring on the last tape and pick up from this.